The very fabric of the world, for those who truly paid attention, seemed to shiver and hum with a delicious unspoken promise. It began with the whispers, carried on the wind like errant dandelion fluff, growing in intensity as the days bled into weeks. "The circus is coming," people would murmur, their eyes alight with a curious mix of apprehension and exhilaration. But this was no ordinary carnival, no collection of dusty rides and peeling paint. This was Le Cirque des Rêves, the circus of dreams, a spectacle that defied convention, time, and the very laws of physics. Its arrival was as subtle as a waking thought. One moment, a vast, empty field would lie under the indifferent gaze of the sun or moon, perhaps covered in dew or crisp with frost. The next, as if conjured from the ether, an intricate, monochromatic labyrinth of tents would stand in stark, breathtaking relief against the sky. The canvas, uniformly striped in black and white, swallowed all other colors, creating an eerie, elegant landscape that drew the eye and held it captive. There were no bright, primary hues, no flashing lights to announce its presence. Instead, the ground itself, inside the delicate wrought iron fence, was painted in opposing shades, a subtle artistic flourish that hinted at the profound uniqueness within. The only sound that accompanied its manifestation was the collective intake of breath from the burgeoning crowd, a soft, communal gasp of awe. There was no boisterous fanfare, no shouting barkers. Instead, an almost reverent silence descended upon the gathered onlookers. Their eyes, wide with wonder, traced the impossible heights of the tents, lingered on the inexplicable clock ticking silently within the gates, its mechanism unseen but its relentless passage undeniable. And then, there was the sign, cryptic yet utterly compelling. "Opens at nightfall, closes at dawn." As the sun began its descent, painting the sky in fiery oranges and deep purples, a restless, expectant hum permeated the air. Children bounced on the balls of their feet, adults shifted, their faces etched with a mixture of impatience and profound curiosity. And then, as if a quiet switch had been flipped, tiny, incandescent lights, like captured fireflies, began to spark to life across the dark canvas of the tents. They winked into existence one by one, growing in number until the entire circus glowed with an ethereal, living light, a counterpoint to the fading twilight. The collective gasp of the onlookers became a sigh of profound satisfaction, a release of pent-up anticipation. Finally, across the elegant wrought iron gates, a new sign, fashioned from those same delicate, flickering bulbs, spelled out its true identity, Le Cirque des Rêves. And then, with a soft, almost imperceptible shudder, the gates swung inward, silently beckoning the mesmerized crowd to step across the threshold and into a world woven from dreams and unspoken magic. This world, they would soon discover, was not merely a collection of wonders. It was the living, breathing arena for a clandestine, lifelong magical duel. A game with stakes far greater than any mere illusion. The true genesis of this profound and intricate contest stretches back to a chilly February afternoon in New York, 1873. Prospero the Enchanter, a man whose public persona shimmered with theatrical flair and seemingly effortless illusion, was known by his true name, Hector Bowen, only to a select few. Hector was a master of spectacle, a magician whose performances left audiences gasping, convinced they had witnessed the impossible. But his true magic, the kind he rarely displayed openly, was something far deeper, far more inherent. It was on this particular afternoon that an unexpected delivery arrived. Not a meticulously crafted prop or a new theatrical costume, but a small, quiet 5-year-old girl named Celia. She was ushered into his meticulously appointed, somewhat sterile study by a brisk lawyer, who swiftly vanished, leaving behind only a morbid suicide note pinned to the child's small, perfectly tailored coat. Hector, a man whose emotional landscape was as carefully constructed and controlled as his illusions, experienced a flicker of genuine shock. He ascertained, with a chilling detachment that was characteristic of him, that this child was, undeniably, his daughter. His initial reaction was a wry, almost disbelieving, "Well, fuck." It was a casual obscenity, a testament to his utter lack of prepared response to something so fundamentally human and inconvenient. Celia, small and still, yet possessing an unnerving self-possession for her age, simply observed him. Her eyes, startlingly similar in hue and intensity to his own, watched his every move. Hector, ever the provocateur, flippantly remarked that her mother should have named her Miranda, a reference to a character from Shakespeare's The Tempest. A subtle flicker of anger, a barely perceptible tightening of her small jaw, transformed Celia's placid features. And then, without a single movement, the delicate teacup perched innocently on his desk began to tremble. It vibrated, a faint, almost musical hum, before shattering with a sudden, sharp crack, porcelain fragments scattering across the polished mahogany, cold tea pooling and dripping onto his pristine papers. Hector, caught completely off guard, frowned, his carefully constructed composure momentarily dissolving. But the true astonishment was yet to come. Before his very eyes, the broken pieces of porcelain began to reform, slowly, impossibly, drawing themselves back together, the tea seeping back into the cup as if defying the laws of physics itself. This raw, intuitive burst of magic from his young daughter was not met with paternal warmth or wonder, but with a cold, calculating assessment. "You might be interesting," he declared, his voice devoid of emotion, a chilling harbinger of the rigorous and often brutal training that lay ahead. It was a statement of potential, not affection, a cold, hard valuation of her latent power. Months later, Hector Bowen, now fully immersed in his public persona as Prospero the Enchanter for a limited engagement in London, dispatched an invisible letter across the vast expanse of the Atlantic. He awaited the arrival of a man known only as Alexander, a figure perpetually clad in a grey suit, a man who was both his former mentor and his eternal adversary in a clandestine tradition of magical contests. Alexander materialized silently in a stage-left box during one of Hector's dazzling, crowd-pleasing performances. He watched, unreadable, his gloved hands never once rising to applaud, his expression betraying neither approval nor disapproval. Alexander, a purist, held a deep disdain for Hector's flamboyant, commercial use of genuine magic, dismissing it as frivolous and lacking in precision. He believed magic should be a delicate, unseen force, a subtle manipulation of reality, not a grand, overt display. Hector, however, reveled in the challenge, viewing his public displays as a means to push the boundaries of his art and entertain the mesmerized masses. After the curtain fell, he sought out Alexander. "Another game?" Hector proposed, his eyes gleaming with the thrill of the challenge, more complex than our last. And then, with a flourish that was pure Prospero, he unveiled his new project, Celia. Celia, impeccably dressed but with a wary stillness that belied her youth, demonstrated her nascent abilities. She made a pocket watch float effortlessly, then shattered it with a mere thought, only to reassemble it with a quiet, focused determination. Alexander, though impressed by her control and the raw power she possessed, noted her temper, an unpredictable variable he deemed unfortunate. The stakes were immense, and Hector, with chilling disregard for the human cost, wagered his own daughter, proclaiming her incomparable after only 8 months of intensely focused study. Alexander, after a moment of profound contemplation, agreed, but not without a crucial condition: he would find a player to truly challenge her, ensuring the game was worthy of his continued involvement. He then slid a delicate silver ring onto Celia's small finger. It was too large, yet as she watched, it miraculously shrunk, tightening, burning into her skin, leaving a permanent red scar where it had been. This mark, a silent, painful brand, signified her unwilling, unknowing entry into the contest. Hector, in turn, handed Alexander a gold band, a symbolic token for the selection of his own champion. The venue for this unfolding drama? A public setting, an element of surprise that Hector gleefully proposed, suggesting that a theatrical producer named Chandrase Christophe Lefebvre might be game for staging the unusual. The rules of the game were deceptively simple in their absence. No time limits, no disclosure clauses beyond basic, necessary interference. Alexander, a shadow merging with the London street, vanished into the night, leaving Celia with a burning mark and a destiny she did not yet comprehend. Meanwhile, Alexander began his meticulous search for a worthy opponent. He found him in a dusty London orphanage, a thoughtful, bookish boy named Marco Alistair. Marco's magic was distinctly different from Celia's. Where Celia's power was born of raw emotion and intuitive force, Marco's was a meticulous, intellectual craft. He learned to manipulate perceptions, to weave subtle influences, to connect ideas and desires through intricate mental pathways. Alexander's training was gentle but demanding, immersing Marco in vast libraries of literature, profound philosophy, and the intricate interconnectedness of all existence. He taught Marco to shape the intangible, to create illusions not of physical presence, but of profound atmospheric effect, emotional resonance, and mental influence. Marco learned to manipulate the invisible threads that bind thoughts and feelings, to inspire wonder not through a visible act, but through a profound, internal experience. Years bled into decades, and the children grew into young adults, their training intensifying with each passing season. Celia, under Prospero's relentless, isolating tutelage, endured a harsh regimen. She was confined, forced to manifest impossible feats, turning a flickering candle flame into a bird that flew across the room before dissolving back into light, manipulating ice into intricate, never-melting sculptures, conjuring perfect roses from thin air. Prospero demanded absolute perfection, pushing her to draw magic from the very core of her being, regardless of the emotional toll it exacted. He molded her into a master of tangible magic, her abilities rooted in the precise manipulation of physical reality, the art of making the impossible undeniably real. Marco, in stark contrast, learned in Alexander's quiet, disciplined environment, mastering the art of suggestion, illusion, and the subtle manipulation of thought. He focused on nuance, on creating experiences within the mind, on the delicate dance of perception. He learned to observe, to listen to the silent whispers of the world, and to understand the unseen currents of desire and belief that flowed beneath the surface of reality. The circus, Le Cirque des Rêves, became the tangible, shimmering manifestation of their clandestine duel. Unbeknownst to them, each act, each tent, each shimmering wonder within the circus's sprawling grounds was a direct contribution from their respective magical talents. Celia's expressive, intuitive magic breathed life into the physical wonders. The ethereal cloud maze, where visitors wandered through swirling mists that shifted and coalesced into ever-changing paths, each journey a unique and deeply personal experience. She created the glittering ice garden, a wonderland of frozen roses and delicate, shimmering sculptures that never melted, a testament to her precise control over temperature and form. Her creations were bold, visible, and deeply rooted in the physical world, captivating the eye and astonishing the senses. Marco's subtle, intellectual magic, on the other hand, permeated the circus's atmosphere and the minds of its visitors, a pervasive, almost subliminal influence. He crafted the irresistible pull that drew people to its gates, the sense of profound wonder and delight that washed over them from the moment they stepped inside. He created the Carousel of Dreams, a magnificent, swirling ride that, though seemingly a simple attraction, transported its riders into their deepest desires and forgotten memories, creating a uniquely personal, introspective experience for each participant. His magic-shaped perception infused the entire circus with its unforgettable, dreamlike aura, making it more than just a collection of acts, but a living, breathing entity. Chandrasekhar Lefebvre, the flamboyant theatrical impresario, became the unwitting ringmaster of this magical creation. He genuinely believed himself the sole architect of the circus, meticulously overseeing its design, hiring its eclectic cast of performers, and managing its grand, mysterious tours across continents. He hosted elaborate, midnight dinners for his chosen associates, the eccentric engineers, designers, and performers who contributed to the circus's seemingly impossible marvels. Unbeknownst to him, these dinners were where Celia and Marco, now young adults, moved among the troupe, each unaware of the other's true identity or purpose. They were both integral parts of the circus, yet fundamentally isolated in their secret magical duties. Celia, performing as a mesmerizing illusionist under the watchful eye of her father, captivated audiences with her seemingly impossible feats. Her stage presence was quiet yet powerful, her magic blurring the line between trickery and genuine transformation. Marco, disguised as Chandrasekh's quiet, indispensable assistant, deftly managed the logistics, the finances, and subtly influenced the flow of the circus, ensuring everything ran with an almost unnatural smoothness. Their paths inevitably crossed, first casually, then with growing frequency. A shared glance across a crowded tent, a fleeting brush of hands in the bustling backstage area, and an undeniable current of magic, a silent recognition, passed between them. Their connection was immediate, profound, and utterly forbidden by the unseen rules of their game. They were adversaries by decree, yet drawn to each other by an irresistible, inexplicable force, two halves of a whole, fundamentally linked by the very magic that defined their existence. Their relationship developed in stolen moments, in clandestine meetings in the quiet hours after the circus had closed for the night. They spoke in hushed tones, revealing fragments of their lives, their rigorous training, and the profound, exhausting burden of their shared magical heritage. They touched, tentative at first, then with growing confidence, and in those touches, a powerful surge of magic flowed between them, a tangible current that confirmed their deepest, most unsettling suspicions. They were the players in the mysterious game, their lives dictated by the whims of their shadowy mentors. The realization was both terrifying and exhilarating, a profound truth that explained the unrelenting pressure, the constant drive to create, and the sense of an inescapable, predetermined fate. Their love became a dangerous secret, a hidden flame burning brightly in a world of illusion and hidden agendas. They learned to communicate through their magic, leaving subtle messages in the circus's creations. Celia might alter a tent's structure to reveal a hidden compartment, or Marco might manipulate the lingering sense in a gallery to convey a mood, a whisper of his presence. They discovered each other's unique magical styles, not as opponents to be vanquished, but as complements, each strengthening and deepening the other's abilities. The game, however, was relentless in its demands. It demanded constant innovation, pushing Celia and Marco to their magical limits, draining their reserves. Each new wonder in the circus was a direct response to the other's previous creation, a silent, artistic conversation in magic. Celia, driven by her intuitive power, developed the wishing tree, a majestic, ancient-looking tree where visitors tied ribbons bearing their deepest desires, and the wishes magically blossomed into tangible, shimmering flowers, each one a unique bloom reflecting the heart's longing. Marco, in turn, crafted the labyrinth of mirrors, a complex, disorienting maze that reflected not only one's physical image but also hidden truths and unspoken dreams, forcing self-reflection and introspection. Their individual magical expressions intertwined, creating a circus that was far grander and more intricate than either could have achieved alone, a testament to their accidental collaboration. But the continuous magical exertion came at a profound cost. Celia and Marco became increasingly drained, their energy perpetually siphoned into the circus. They felt a growing weariness, a subtle thinning of their own beings. They began to realize that their very existence was intrinsically tied to the game. What happens if one of them loses? The terms of the game were vague, shrouded in arcane mystery, but the unspoken understanding, confirmed by their own increasing fragility, was chilling. The loser would simply cease to exist, their magic consumed by the victor, their essence absorbed into the ethereal plane. The fear, a silent, pervasive anxiety, began to gnaw at them beneath the glittering spectacle of their shared creation. A young man named Bailey, a quiet, imaginative boy from a small town, embodied the purest form of a rêveur, a true believer in the impossible magic of the circus. He was drawn to its fleeting appearances with an almost spiritual devotion, the sense of profound wonder it evoked. He would sneak into the circus during the day, finding it empty and mundane, stripped of its magic in the harsh light of the sun, only to discover that the magic returned with the fall of night. His innocent, unwavering devotion to the circus made him a crucial, if initially unwitting, figure in the unfolding drama, representing the pure, untainted wonder that Celia and Marco strived to create. He became a living testament to the circus's power, a symbol of its true purpose beyond the clandestine duel. His journey through the circus became intertwined with the larger narrative, as he unwittingly stepped closer to the magical heart of the show, a heart now pulsing with the silent, desperate love of two magicians. The game escalated, and the pressure on Celia and Marco became almost unbearable. Prospero, ever the pragmatic showman, pushed Celia to extremes, demanding grander, more visible displays of power, pushing her to the brink of exhaustion. Alexander, observing from the shadows, encouraged Marco to deepen his subtle influence, to perfect his art of intangible creation, to weave more intricate webs of perception. The magic they unleashed became more volatile, less predictable, a dangerous, uncontrolled force simmering beneath the surface of the grand spectacle. Tragedy struck when Tsukiko, one of the circus's most graceful contortionists and an aerialist of breathtaking skill, was gravely injured during a performance. Her accident was not merely a mishap. It was a direct consequence of the escalating magical intensity, the invisible forces at play, and the increasing strain on the performers. It shattered the unspoken rule that the game should not cause harm, forcing Celia and Marco to confront the devastating implications of their magical duel. They realized the true stakes were not just their own existence, but the safety and integrity of the circus itself, and potentially the lives of those within it. The innocent dreams of the rêveurs were being put at risk by their arcane contest. This devastating event served as a profound catalyst. Celia and Marco, now fully aware of the insidious, consuming nature of the game, devised a desperate plan. They understood, with painful clarity, that they could not allow one to win, in the traditional sense, for the outcome would mean the utter annihilation of the other. Their love, forged in the crucible of this magical contest, a bond that defied the very rules of the game, provided the only solution. They decided to intertwine their magic, their lives, so completely that neither could exist without the other. They would merge with the circus itself, becoming its very essence, its beating heart, its enduring spirit. It was a profound sacrifice, a transmutation that would bind them to Le Cirque des Rêves forever, but it was also the only way to preserve their love and the incredible world they had co-created. They chose to become the magic. On a fated night, under a sky studded with 1,000 indifferent stars and the silent, knowing gaze of the moon, Celia and Marco performed their ultimate magical act. It was not a public display, but a deeply personal, intimate ritual. They enacted a powerful, simultaneous transformation. They poured their remaining essence, their minds and spirits, into the very fabric of the circus. Their transformation was not a sudden disappearance, a dramatic vanishing act, but a slow, graceful integration. They became the whispers in the wind that rustled the black and white tents, the shimmering lights that illuminated its pathways, the very magic that made the impossible real within its boundaries. They were the sweet scent of caramel, the subtle aroma of cinnamon, the inexplicable chill of the ice garden, the dizzying joy of the carousel of dreams. They became the soul of Le Cirque des Rêves. Prospero, Hector Bowen, stood amidst his silent, darkened tents, a profound, unsettling realization dawning upon him. His ambition, his relentless drive to win, had resulted in a victory he never anticipated, a resolution beyond his control. His protégé, his creation, his weapon, had transcended his manipulation and found a different kind of triumph, one born of love and shared creation rather than dominance and destruction. He was left with a lingering sorrow, a void where his project once was, a subtle, unfamiliar pain for something he never truly valued until it was irrevocably changed, forever beyond his reach. Alexander, the enigmatic mentor, the quiet orchestrator of the game, acknowledged the sublime and unexpected outcome. His philosophical approach to magic, his long-standing contest, had culminated not in a clear winner or loser, but in a profound metamorphosis, a beautiful testament to the unpredictable power of connection and artistry that even he, in his ancient wisdom, had not fully foreseen. The circus, Le Cirque des Rêves, continued its eternal, enigmatic journey. It appeared and disappeared as it always had, without warning, without fanfare, a magical beacon in the night, drawing in the devoted revors. Unaware of the profound sacrifice made by the two young magicians, they continued to flock to its gates, their wonder undiminished, their spirits uplifted by the impossible beauty within. Bailey, the young boy from the small town, now grown into a young man, found himself irrevocably drawn back to the circus. He, above all others, possessed the purity of belief that allowed him to see beyond the surface. He discovered the truth of Celia and Marco's transformation, their binding with the circus. He learned of their sacrifice, their choice to become its heart and soul, its living magic. He became its new guardian, its silent keeper, its devoted protector, ensuring its continuation, a legacy of two intertwined souls. He understood that the magic of Le Cirque des Rêves was not merely an illusion, but a living, breathing entity, fueled by the love and sacrifice of Celia and Marco, a testament to the enduring power of dreams. The circus continued, a living, breathing testament to their enduring love and artistry, forever offering a glimpse into a world where dreams took tangible form, where the impossible was merely a canvas waiting to be painted. It was a story woven with threads of enchantment and heartbreak, a tapestry of midnight and starlight, forever unfurling under the watchful gaze of the moon.